Today's Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It is good to be here. Yes, it is. After a week off, I still got up last week, but went for a bicycle ride instead because I actually needed a little bit of exercise. I realized that I work so many hours every day and that it's not going anywhere. It'll be here tomorrow. It'll be here the next day. And so, my days are typically long, but my Wednesdays are really, really long. So went for a bike ride. It was one of those things I had not done in a long time. Felt good. And I need to do more of that because I'd like to be around on the earth as long as I possibly can so I can keep doing what I'm doing. That's the bottom line. I realized this morning that when I was going through the articles and kind of just going through them, I realized that, 9 times out of 10, a lot of the articles that are shared online literally have not a whole lot of details to them. Obviously in the United States, that's just par for the course. They don't want to be held liable for anything they print, so a lot of the allegedly type words are thrown in there, and very just general information is shared. What I realized this morning is that we as an industry can use these articles and learn from them. So I encourage all of you out there, whether you're a contractor, you're an inspector, you're a manufacturer, to take these articles, and if they apply to the work that you do some way, shape, or form, use them as tools. Get your team together. Get your safety team together if you've got one, and you should have one, and kind of look at the articles, speculate or infer what may have happened, steps to be taken to prevent those items from happening, and share that information. I think that is what these articles should be used for in the work that each of us does every day. It just hit me. I'm like, wow. Seems like a good idea, right? Right. So use these articles, share them. Don't sweep them under the cover or under the rug. And let's make our industry safer, obviously, and also the general riding public who rides on our equipment. So next week, and that was my epiphany for the day. And I was pretty proud of that. I'm like, yeah, because at some point you kind of get tired of talking about articles that don't have a whole lot to share. But I think we all can go through the steps, go through the processes of using them as learning tools, even if we don't have all the details. All right, that is my challenge to each one of you out there to do that. So I'll see if I can't get something together that might be a downloadable form that you can kind of figure out on your own. So yeah, it was not necessarily a great week for news articles as they relate to accidents around the world. And as I noted in my blog post, I was serious when I said, I would think twice about riding on an elevator escalator in another country, and the lead story signifies or points to the reasons why behind that. So anyway, hey, just some housekeeping stuff to take care of. As many of you may or may not know, I am the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation chairman. I've been an active member and participant and promoter of the foundation since I don't know, probably the early 90s, but it went on the board as an alternate in, I think, 2001 or 2002, and have been actively participating and trying to, help it reach its mission and goals, or goals and mission in that order, apparently is much better. So a lot of you might be tuning into the show today to find out just some news on what's been happening with the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. Many of you may or may not have heard that Nicole Layden is no longer the executive director of the EESF. I am here to just state that through the years that I've worked with Nicole, which have been about, I think, 3. I think she did a good job. I was very what she was able to do in 2 years in achieving the new program and getting it online was not an easy feat or task at all. And I enjoy working with her, and it's obviously when a small organization like this loses an executive director or just an employee, it's not easy, obviously, and that happened last week. So anyway, if anybody would like to talk to me about that or whatever, I will be at the NAC convention. Just so everybody knows, and to be clear on this, the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation is in good shape. The executive board is working hard with Lori Dewitt, who is the program director, and the foundation is in really good hands. And the direction that the foundation is going to go is in the process of being kind of thought out by the executive board. So just want to let everybody know we are doing well. The foundation is moving in the right direction, and in light of Nicole's, leaving, we are going to be okay. So anybody wants to talk about that with me, again, send me an email, call me, whatever. Happy to do that. The executive director of any organization is always going to be under scrutiny in one shape or form. I think the EESF is probably one of the most I guess, how do you say this, under a magnifying glass kind of associations, and you're not going to make everybody happy, unfortunately. So I'm sure I didn't make, didn't please a whole lot of people. Maybe I did. I don't know. I don't really care, but I did what was best for the organization, and we are moving on. I'm excited. I will be presenting at the NAC convention on Tuesday. I forgot the time, about the progress that the online marketing program has been making. I didn't have this information back in, I think it was May, when I spoke at the Elevator Safety Summit. That information was just starting to come through, so we are on the right track. It has been a long process, and it is my goal to leave the foundation in a stable position or in a better position than when I found it. And I thought I was getting to that point, and now it's just taking steps to ensure that we're at that point now. So just a busy time. Work's busy, and it's kind of busy with the headache busy kind of thing, where projects are big and they just require a lot of attention. So that's kind of busy that we're involved with. On top of that, the ESF obviously has become a little bit more taken a little bit more of a priority in my daily work, which is totally fine. And I'm very pleased and glad that I have a good board around me to help out as help is needed. So I greatly appreciate that. Couldn't do that without that board. So to find out how you can help the ESF, visit their website, eesf.org, and I'll be excited to share more information with you at the NAC convention and see if we can't record that so we can get information to everybody. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to... There's something going on with my headphones. I don't know what it is. Okay. I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm still having problems with my headphones. So if you get hearing some issues with whatever audio, it's probably on my end, not yours. Today is the first day of school for my high schoolers, and on Sunday I'm taking my oldest out to the University of Montana. I'm excited about that. So I'm actually flying back on Wednesday, but I'm going to try to get a show done on Sunday. Oh, this is killing me. It's driving me crazy. I'm so sorry. It could have something to do with the fact my headphone cord is like been twisted up. Like a phone cord. But anyway, so we'll get into the show notes in a minute and just have you out of here in no time whatsoever. Again, as you click through the articles, please use these as tools to learn from, to prevent in the future. And together, let's make safety a priority in the work that we do each and every day. Okay, up next, news.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
All right, the first news article of the show was pretty horrific. It was the one that was posted the most online, and unbelievable. This is about as bad as you can get. A woman was killed in an elevator accident in Spain after giving birth in a hospital. So apparently the woman was on a stretcher, was wheeled into one elevator, didn't work, then wheeled into another one. It started to travel with doors open, and you can imagine what happened next. So again, this happened in New York, but the reality, and it could have been under the same circumstances, but when you don't have a code, and obviously the code is only one implement, one tool to use, if you don't have a code and you don't have inspectors to make sure everything is safe and things are installed correctly, and people are working on equipment that are certified and trained, you may find incidents like this. Another accident in New York. I cannot believe the number of fatalities involving construction workers in New York. I mean, I know it does not parallel with the gang shootings in Chicago, and I really shouldn't make that kind of equation, but in my eyes, it seems as if those that care about the level of care that's taken regarding like the gang shootings in Chicago and construction workers being killed or dying during workplace-related injuries is like on the same level, and that's just unbelievable. I want you to read this, go down further, click on the video. I'm not going to play it here, but they're still, they're trying to get a bill passed that requires 59 hours of training, and which is up from the 10 hours that are required from OSHA per year. But it's more than just, safety training. It's everything training. So just kind of scary. You wouldn't think a great city like New York would have issues similar to this, where you've got construction workers dying. I'm telling you, it's terrible, and I wish it would change. I don't know if it's because of the number of buildings that are being put up or the work that's there, and obviously it probably is, but it should not still be to the level that it's at. Okay, Duluth News Tribune has an update on the victim that had fallen down an elevator shaft in Duluth or Superior, one of those two locations. Apparently, the man was ID'd. This was at the Android Hotel in Superior, I guess. 63-year-old Michael Stephen Grigoni is the maintenance worker at the hotel that had passed away or had died in the elevator fall. Apparently, he had opened the elevator doors and fallen in. So, yeah, not good. Apparently, there's not a whole lot of family to contact, but should never have been trying to do that in the first place, which is scary. And it's if you don't know what you're doing, don't be working on elevators. Okay, there's a couple articles on the show. This one's a little bit later, and I'll let you read this. This is regarding the sheriff or the police officer in Philly that was injured when the elevator had fallen. And these articles, and there's one later on in the show that I'll share that I think is hits kind of home more than this one does. But apparently there's a worker who ID'd the elevators is needing increased maintenance, stuff like that. I'll let you read that on your own, because the next article that I have, I should have just taken this one out, but still it's a tragedy. But what I'll share in the next article is more important, I think, than this one. Okay, next Thursday, the Chicago Elevator Association meeting. I will be there at that. Looking forward to that. September 7th. Peely will be presenting on what they've got going on lately, and should be fun. That's at the Clubhouse in Oak Brook. Next news article, broken elevator strands. Residents, you see these popping up here and there. And again, my only issue with these is the fact that a lot of the times, and don't quote me on this, but payment seems to be an issue on a lot of, lower income type housing facilities or elderly complexes. And a lot of the times that is the issue why elevators don't get fixed. Sometimes it's equipment, but 9 times out of 10, it's payment issues. And the reality is that nobody wants to say it. It's like the white elephant in the room because the contractor doesn't want to sell out his customer, et cetera, and nobody wants to say what. Okay, this is kind of cool. Elevator Museum to open in Boston. Apparently, after Pat Carriger had closed the one in New York, Steve Comley has opened one, or is going to be opening one in Boston, which is, I think, pretty darn cool. Link is in the show notes. And what was awesome was Pat Carriger actually, he actually sent I'm so sorry. I'm like focusing on something that I see in this photo that I haven't seen in a long time. I apologize. Anyway, he accidentally saw. So Comley had actually sent pieces to the museum to Pat Carriger, and he wanted them back after the museum had closed. And Pat Carriger said, "I've got one better for you. Let me just give you all the pieces," which I thought was awesome. So I thought that was really cool of Pat Carriger to do that. And so they're going to be setting this up at the Constructors Union Hall in Dorchester, which I think is cool. And I love when history like this is preserved. So I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. So I'm just looking at the images of this old stuff. This stuff, I love it. I love it. Anyway, so link is in the show notes on that. So I wish them the best. All right, if I can get out of this pop-up ad. And that's Embry Elevators. So pretty cool. It's too bad that the museum didn't work, but I think it's awesome I think the Union is a great place to preserve history, to be honest with you. I've sent some photos there of past Union picnics and stuff like that for our local too, and that they have on display there, so pretty cool. Okay, Elevator Riders Riding Club has a 50-50 raffle going on at the Orlando convention. So all you got to do, the winner splits half the pot. All you got to do is go to the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation or visit the Parts Specialist booth 0828. So great way to support the organization, the ESF, the Elevator Riders Riding Club. If you're a motorcycle rider, please consider joining. I'm looking for don't tell my wife I'm looking for a motorcycle right now. Actually, an off-road motorcycle. If you have one to sell, let me know. Okay, Tallahassee Democrat reporting. God, I hate these pop-ups. Reporting that Fed officials say that the company that employed a man killed in February while working in an elevator at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare has policies in place that allowed him to work outside of safety standards. Anyway, I'll let everybody read that on their own. And again, there's a learning tool there. Figure out what exactly might have been the issues and make sure they're not being performed in your facility. Okay, next news article. Worker says warning about elevator cost him his job. This is the article I was talking about earlier, okay? Newsworks.com reporting. And again, this is allegedly speculation, whatever. The elevator did pass inspection, so some of these statements I don't know are true or not, but the reality is that I have employees who, if there's an issue in the shop, if there is a safety concern, they know they can come and tell me about it right away. I will not let them go. They understand that I want a safe location to work at. If maintenance needs to be performed, we will do that. So the reality is that if you're an elevator contractor or owner that literally needs some kind of that gets these kind of information. I mean, I know there are instances where some of these statements or the concerns may be unwarranted, but deal with each one of them individually and do it in writing. Because this is a snafu. I don't know if the worker was pulled into a lawsuit or what's going on, but the reality is that man, I mean, it's an ugly situation. Okay, Swiss elevator maker Schindler's Q2 profit up on strong Americas and in Europe. So if you've got Schindler's stock, you are probably doing pretty good right now. If you're a Schindler employee with stock options or whatnot, it's good to see that. Adding an elevator to historic elevator is tedious work. Obviously, it is, and when you're dealing with details on that level, it does take time. So, but it's nice to see that historic elevators are actually seeing these kind of projects being taken and steps taken to restore the history. I'm so sorry. Like, I got a million things running through my mind right now, and none of them are coming out of my mouth. Okay, 5 things you didn't want to know about escalator. This coming from the civilized.life blog. You can read this. I don't know where they got these photographs from, but if you're going to scare people in the world, that's probably a good place to do it, is by posting some of this stuff. So let everybody read this on your own. And you probably knew some of this information already, and it's not obviously rock science by any means, but and it doesn't necessarily pertain to the shoes that they show. Any soft-soled shoe is going to get caught or could get caught in sharp devices or whatnot. So, okay, the NAC convention is fast approaching. If you haven't made your reservation, get those in today. I've actually I did that on Tuesday. But typically I'm pretty late in the game to get all this stuff done. So I am looking forward to it. It's an 18 days, 16 hours, and 9 minutes and 10 seconds. As a vendor and vendors out there, you may already know this, or you might already deal with this as well, but it's a lot of work putting these shows together. I always admire the guys and gals and companies that have the big booths that put a lot of money into it and spend a lot of time. Next news article, mesmerizing time lapse reveals how workers build escalators. This is in the London Tube, so I'll let everybody watch this video on their own because I'm running a little late. So it's kind of cool. I think time lapse videography is pretty cool to watch. I like that stuff. So check it out. Link is in the show notes. In the state of Michigan, apparently Carnival Ride and elevator inspectors are now combined. It's coming from Hudsonville, Michigan. I kind of already thought that they were under the same category, but I could be wrong. Might be in Illinois, may not. But as if it weren't difficult enough to be an elevator inspector, now you are going to have to learn about carnival rides. Anyway, that's not going to be easy, obviously, and I think the inspectors should get a pay raise for that. But yet the government agency is going to save money because they have combined the two together. So, oh, man. As if it's not easy enough to inspect elevators under the various codes that are out there. Now you're going to have to figure out carnival rides. This next article is an interesting one because it's one of those where it wouldn't have been published like 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago because this is like a common sense kind of thing. The journal.ie in Ireland, apparently the third of all injuries on Irish rail trains last year happened at the gap between the trains and the platforms. If you take a look at it, it's a pretty big gap. And it shows a photo of an elderly woman kind of, well, she's just getting on the train, but that's a pretty big gap, obviously, but it's you wonder if they can do something about that, but at the end of the day, you'd wonder if we all as people have the common sense to know to pick our feet up if you see it, because I imagine that, I guess if you had a crowded train or crowded stop, you necessarily would not have seen that gap or whatnot. But I don't know, it just seems like common sense, and if you had an article like this in the 1930s, 40s, whatnot, people would think you're crazy. Like, what's wrong with you? Just pick up your leg, But I guess there's more to it than I'm thinking. Alrighty. Let me go back. Next news article and the last article of the show. Over the side escalator fall video. You watch this. You wanna find out how kids fall over the side of escalators if you're not sure. This happened in China, okay, but it's awful. It is awful. If you do not watch your children, and this is coming from the dailymail.com, if you do not watch your children at a mall, this could happen. It's unbelievable. You see a little girl putting her hands on like the down or the up escalator. I can't really tell. And the next thing you know, she gets pulled up and over, and then she tries to get off. She did not jump. Shocking moment, girl jumps off a 4-meter high escalator. She didn't jump off of it. She tried to get off the escalator handrail. Terrifying. So you want to watch how this happens? This is how it happens. Very easy, very quick, like any accident. And watch your kids. Please watch your kids at the mall. Anybody who you know who has little kids, your neighbor, the people down the street, watch them. Make sure they know any equipment, anything. Just do your part, okay? Because this happens more often than I prefer to even, comment on, and it's really terrifying. It's definitely an accident that should be preventable, for sure. So anyway, well, that's going to do it for the show, everybody. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Use the articles. Use them for good, not evil. Use them for training tools. If you have a weekly toolbox, meeting, make sure you are doing your part to make safety important each and every day. Okay? So next week, do my best to do a show. I'll be in Montana from my laptop. If not, I'll put a post up, and that'll do it. So be safe. Have a great rest of the week. Watch out for the kids walking to school, and we'll be back next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.